As long as you continue to speak the language of you is the foremost word that comes to your mind, then the energy is going outside. And when the energy, you want to bring it back, you are going to speak the language of I. You see, I will bring this inner self. It will find the real inner self. I is a very powerful word. I is the most powerful word in the dictionary actually. You is the most dangerous word in the dictionary. I is the most beautiful word and you is the most ugly word. Try to understand this. So when you close your eyes, if you comes in the picture, you means everything outside, then I. If you comes into the picture, then it is a gross level of thinking. And this thinking is very dangerous thinking. This thinking is going to create problems that we may not able to fix it. Once the psychological suffering stems in our consciousness, I don't know how to fix it. I mean, very few consciousness is able to really fix once the psychological suffering stems in the mind. Have you ever met the people who have a tendency to be worrying? Constant worrying. Even if nothing is going on in their life so dramatic, they are worrying about something nonsensical. And as an objective way, you can look at their life and you can see, I mean, this is a nonsensical worrying. But to them, it is not nonsensical. To them, it is real because they have made it real. You see, a blind person cannot understand the problem of the blind man. Please be aware of that. Only the person who has eyes can understand what problem a blind man is going through. Only the person. Normally, we want to think about poor people can understand the problem of poor people. It is incorrect. Growing up in India and in a poor society, normally, a poor cannot understand the problem of poor. In order to understand the problem of poor, there has to be a richness. So, the awakened consciousness always can see the suffering of mankind. Only awakened consciousness. If the consciousness is not awakened, you cannot understand the suffering of other mankind. You can talk about it, but you cannot really truly understand the suffering of mankind. It is like a big nightmare. So to really not to fall in the trap of a psychological suffering, proactive meditation is a prevention act. It's like a flu shot so that you don't get flu. Similarly, meditation is a flu shot so that you don't get into the psychological issues in the future. Because psychological issues are all around us. They're ready to just make a host in our consciousness. They're ready. So you need to strengthen yourself in some manner. Your immunity must be strong so these psychological issues do not really make a host in your own consciousness. And then if they don't make a host, because your awareness is a different level, you're vibrating at a different level, the frequency is much higher, so they cannot make a host. Through meditation, through developing the immunity, through being a proactive on this kind of a path, then what happens? Then you are awakened in some level, You're awakened, and then you will have a compassionate view of the people who are going, and you can see the tremendous suffering of mankind. Then you can see the tremendous suffering. Then you can see how people are caught up in their dreams, and their object of dream is nightmare. Nightmare. And there is only one way to overcome that nightmare: to be awakened. There is no other solution to eradicate nightmare. Just like in our life, we have many situations. Situation that deals with health, situation which deals with finance, situation which deal with relationship. I guarantee you cannot resolve these situations where they are. Only way to resolve these situations is to be awakened towards the reality of one's own Swabhava. Swabhava, the essential nature of who we are. It's not a foreign object. It doesn't come from outside. Nobody can give it to you. You cannot borrow this from others. Whatever is your realization, is part of your truth. It was already there. The Swabhava is already there. It's just covered with a thick layer of dust. Thick layer of dust. And when the teacher comes into your life, teacher is nothing but a vacuum cleaner, like you see the vacuum cleaner right there. Teacher is that vacuum cleaner. And it comes and it wants to suck the dust out of that collection. But mankind is so used to of that dust that they are not even ready to give their dust. They are used to of their suffering. Without the life of suffering, they don't know what is life. They don't know what is life. If almost like someone who has a headache for 30, 40 years, they do not know what it feels not to have a headache. Because they have lived all along with that kind of a mindset. They cannot even imagine the freedom of not living in fear. Not living in a fear. They cannot even imagine. And the words that we speak cannot define that element. That's why I was saying they are cheap words. They are lie. They cannot say the truth. They are incapable of saying truth. All the words are lie. Whether it is in Quran, whether it is in Bhagavad Gita, whether it is in the Bible, wherever it is, they cannot tell you what is your Swabhava. They cannot. They can indicate. They are indicator, but not the truth. Not the truth. It's almost like you lived in an island, and in that island no beautiful flowers have ever grown. No flowers. In fact, no one has ever experienced any kind of a flowers. But one man has opportunity to go to a different, much bigger island. And he travels to much bigger island, and he is astonished to see multiple types of flowers and beautiful colors of the flowers. And when he comes back and he wants to explain what he saw in a different island, he collects all beautiful stones from this island where he really belonged, and he's tried to show that the flowers are like these beautiful stones. Now, is there any relationship between the flower and the stones? No, None. None. So similarly, the words are like the beautiful stones, and the reality is like the beautiful flowers. Are you following here? There is no relationship. Still, we are trying to convey the message. Still, the course is written. It is out of compassion. And not only out of compassion, but also nothing else can be done. It's like sun cannot do anything but to pour its rays everywhere. Nothing else can be done. When your cup runneth over, it is going to spill the water. So the words are going to come out. Whether there are 6 listeners or 0 listener or 500 listeners. It has nothing to do with the listeners. It has everything to do with the outpouring of the consciousness. So that's why the teacher is just like a vacuum cleaner, sucking the dust. And the Swabhava is there. It's almost like you're dreaming here and you're in New York and you want to take a flight to come to Atlanta. Is that a right thing to do? Can you take a flight and come to Atlanta? Is it possible? It is not possible. Because you're dreaming that you're in New York. You're dreaming. You're already in Atlanta. So any action is going to be invalid action. What do you have to do to be in Atlanta? Just wake up. The whole process of spirituality is a process of awakening. The whole process of spirituality is the process of awakening. And you will find right here, right now, heaven exists. Heaven exists. It is just this thinking mind that is so convoluted and so diluted and so much problematic that we get just caught up in this thinking mind. If we can raise our vibration higher than this thinking mind, the beauty is right here. Beauty is right here. And you can tap into this awareness as you and I are connecting in this class. In this very moment you can tap it and you will find suddenly you don't have a thinking mind. Suddenly your mind is not thinking anymore and it is your heart is pulsating and vibrating and this consciousness is merging everything. And that is heaven. Right here. Right now.